Yo, what's up, people? I'm Trey of Our Studios, and today is another beautiful day in
Houston,
and it is Wednesday,
October 2nd, 2013.
and I also have this evil voice accompanying me today.
Ha 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 ha.
No, just joking about that. And I've had two classes since last time I had this vlog, and this is my second entry going on right now, and we've covered a lot of material since then, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop on right into it. So on Friday, because my class is actually on Tuesday and Thursday. So on Thursday we actually talked about rest and what they mean on a music sheet. A rest signifies a time of silence, a time where you don't play any notes, just letting the musicians know, hey, be quiet for right now, and then the notes are going to come up ahead, maybe in the next measure. So here are the different types of rests. We have the basics, the quarter rest, the half rest, and the full rest. And we also have the rest with the dot after it, which means is rest for 3 beats. Oh yeah, and quarter rest is 1 beat, and half rest is 2 beats, and full rest is 4 beats on a 4-beat measure. And we also talked about time signature and what that means. So when you look at the music measure, you see 2 numbers in front before the notes actually start playing, and that is the time signature. And in this class, they said that we'll always be using the 4 at the bottom. So that's just be basic 4 at the bottom. I guess when you get to more advanced pianoing, you'll be doing more time signatures and stuff like that. But right now it's 4 at the bottom, and the top number means how many beats per measure. So this one, it says 4/4. So that means 4 beats per measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that's the end of that measure. And then, for instance, if it said 3, it'd be 3 beats per measure. So you count out 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's how you would play your music. And the bottom number means the value of the beat. 4 signifies 1/4 note on a measure. Or so I've been told. I actually don't fully understand it. Sorry. And we actually looked at some drum music sheets. Well, music sheets for percussion, which basically doesn't involve any melody. It just has the rhythm laid out in front of you, just to practice our time signature comprehension. All right, so looking at this percussion measure, the top line is played by the right hand, and the bottom line is played by the left hand. So, if and that's the same thing with the clefs too, which I'm gonna talk to you about later on, and the grand staff. And so the lines at the top of the measure are usually played by the right hand, and then the ones at the bottom played by the left hand. So let's talk about the clefs right now. We have the bass clefs that looks like somewhat like a backwards F, and it's also known as the F clef. And then we have the treble clef, also known as the G clef, looks like a G. And traditionally, the treble clef is played by the right hand, and the bass clef is played by the left hand. And when you put both of those clefs together on a music measure, it's known as a grand staff. And the one note that joins these two, the treble clef and the bass clef together, is called the middle C. Very important to know. It is on the middle of the keyboard. That is the middle C. The lines on the measure that hold the notes in place, so you actually know which note to play, is called a 5-line staff. And any lines going upward from that 5-line staff or below, you put a line through it, and that line is known as the leisure line. It lets people know that how many notes are away from the basic 5-line staff. And now that we know this information, let's take another look at the grand staff, and you see that the middle C and below the middle C is basically the range of the bass clef. And anything middle C and upwards is the range of the treble clef. So the notes go on and on from there. And so each space, like first you have a line, which is a note, and then the space before that, and then another line. Each progression is known as a progression in a note, or a second. So we got C, D, E, F, G, and then you start over again at A. And then the same thing with the bass clef, but backwards. So you go C, B, A, and then start over at G, F, and so on and so forth. And we also talked about octaves. Like for instance, the middle C is right here, and then we have the C above that on the treble clef, and those are an octave apart. They're the same note, but it's an octave difference. For instance, this is middle C, and this is the octave higher C. So that is an octave range. And the last thing we talked about on Wednesday was finger placement. And on the music sheet, they have the fingers laid out like this, with 1 being the thumb, 2 being the index, 3 being the middle, 4 being the ring finger, and 5 being the pinky. And that's how it is. Usually on these beginner music sheets, they'll show you what finger to actually place first on the treble clef. So on the music sheet up here, we have 1, which means play that first note with your thumb and then go on and on from your thumb position. So if you got more notes higher on the scale, you will use your other fingers after your thumb to play those higher notes, so you can just keep your fingers intact and in line. So yeah, that was a lot of stuff we covered on one day. That was all on Thursday, and then next week Tuesday we got to some more stuff. All right, let's bring back up the treble clef. And the teacher actually taught us an easier way to remember the notes when looking at a sheet of music. And the space in between on the treble clef, if you look at the notes that they signify, it spells out face, F-A-C-E. So that's an easy way to remember that. And the lines in between those spaces is E, G, B, D, F. And a good way to remember that is every good boy does fine. That's the code for that. So that's one way you can remember the notes on the music sheet. And for the bass clef, it's a little different. The space between the lines are A, C, E, and G. And the phrase for that is all cows eat grass. Take it or leave it. And we talked about the stems on music notes, and all notes on the 5-line staff below the middle line have upward pointing stems, and on or above the middle line have downward pointing stems. It's just all to contain the music on one piece of paper and make it look all nice and neat, so it's easy to read. And then we actually started getting to some complicated things, at least complicated for myself. So look at this music note. You see the F below the treble clef? That actually means forte or loud, meaning play these notes loud. So push them harder than you would push a regular note. And the P on the G clef right here means play it soft. So play it like, well, that's not a good example, but play it softer than you would allow. And then it can go on and on from that, like FF, which is a double forte, means play it very loud, and PP, very soft. So it go on and on that. So it got a little more complicated with that. And then we have the phrases above the grand staff. For instance, we have allegro, which means it's a tempo mark. It means play this section fast and lively. Fast and lively, which I guess is based on opinion, because some people who think some things are fast, some people think it may be slow. So, and then they get into more complicated things with mesto, which is another tempo mark, and it means play it majestically or with dignity. It's categorized being lower than allegro tempo. So, take it or leave it. And then looking at the notes again on the grand staff, if you look at the bass clef, you see a little curved line between the notes. You see a curved line, and that is called a slur or legato, and it means smoothly connected. So you don't play them like those aren't very smoothly connected. So I mean, there's no break in the notes when you play like that. No break in the notes, no two notes being played at the same time too. So it's no break, no pause, just keep on playing the notes in succession. And then the rest is just practice, really. laid out some notes on the music sheet and we played them out, and he critiqued us the whole time. And basically, to do those, you would have to get the book. And now I have the book, so I can go ahead and start practicing now. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to practice for y'all right now. All right, and on this one, you count out 3 beats per measure. So you count out 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'll play it again. All right, the next one is 4/4, meaning 4 beats per measure. All right, I think I messed up on that last measure. And moving on to some actual melodies, check out this sheet. And you see the 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 above the notes. That means what finger to play. And since it's on the treble clef, right hand, thumb 1, pointer 2. So these 2 fingers. And let's see here. The first note is G. So put your hand on G. And then the second note is A. So that's it for number 1. Number 2 starts off with middle C. And let's go down to the bass clef, practice with the left hand. Okay. And last but not least, we get more complicated by using both hands at the same time, which is what I'm really worried about here. All right, but let's go for it. Slowly but surely, you get it done. I need more practice, and you should probably practice too if you're following along. Tune in for next week, coming back again for my 3rd entry of the class. It's mainly gonna be more practice and less theory next time, so be prepared for that. All right, see you. Oh, and before you leave, check out this score I just made. Yeah, got kind of sloppy towards the end, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and make that into something. All right,